To order, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Present.
Brubaker,
Here.
Kimmons,
Here.
Kaiser,
Here.
Lucas.
Here.
Thank you. We'll look at the agenda for this evening. Are there any corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? If anyone has business in front of the council this evening on any of the items, either in the regular meeting or the work session, please present your registration card and you'll have 4 minutes to address the council. Moving on to the minutes from the last meeting. Everyone's had the minutes in their packet. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes of the last meeting? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to a public hearing, and the public hearing for the 2018 Community Development Block Grant. And we'll open that hearing. And Mr. Crane, is there anything you want to announce about the block grant? If you have business or comments and you'd like to speak for or against this, now would be the time to come forward. Mr. Crane?
Tom can give a brief staff
right.
presentation.
All right.
So, City of Moberly will apply for and received a demolition grant for $200,000. Funds with city matching funds of up to $134,000 for up to 65 houses. We were able to complete 61 of those structures, and at this time we have contributed $120,012 in cash match, and we still have our in-kind to apply to that as well. So.
All right. Questions, anyone from council about future plans? Anything you want to talk about that? Do we get to continue to use monies from that grant, or are we done
No,
there?
the CDBG grant so all the funding from that project has been utilized. So that's the $200,000 of the grant funds plus our match have been all applied. Then the 61 houses are done. So that grant, this is the closeout. So.
All right. Anyone else want to express comments about the block grant? All right. Hearing none, then we will close the hearing and move on to ordinances and resolutions, which brings us to number 3, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance submitting ordinances number 7142, 7919, and 9170 asked to be read for consideration by title only.
All right. There's a motion for, for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 7142, ordinance number 7919, and ordinance number 9170, setting the fees for permits relative to building permits, electrical permits, heating permits, digging permits, and plumbing permits.
All right. You've heard the first reading. Any comments? Hearing none. Second reading.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 7142, ordinance number 7919, and ordinance number 9170, setting the fees for permits relative to building permits, electrical permits, heating permits, digging permits, and plumbing permits.
All right. You've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Lucas.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. The ordinance is passed. Moving on to number 4, an ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance of the City of Moberly, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to acquire certain property by purchase or condemnation. Ask for it to be read for passage, title only.
All right. For the motion for the reading of the ordinance, is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance of the City of Moberly, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to acquire certain property by purchase or condemnation.
All right. Heard the motion, or excuse me, heard the reading of the ordinance. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Second reading.
An ordinance of the City of Moberly, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to acquire certain property by purchase or condemnation.
All right, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
All right. Motion carries. The ordinance is passed. Moving on to number 5, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance adopting the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve the rezoning application of the city of Moberly for property located at 519 West End Place. I ask it to be read twice for consideration of passage.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance adopting the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve the rezoning application of the City of Moberly for property located at 519 West End Place.
All right, you've heard the reading of the ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, second reading.
An ordinance adopting the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve the rezoning application of the City of Moberly for property located at 519 West End Place.
All right, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
It's been motioned. Is there a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. The ordinance is passed. Moving on to number 6.
Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance accepting and authorizing execution of a community assistance program addendum and ask that it be read twice for consideration and passage.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance accepting and authorizing execution of a community assistance program addendum.
All right, you've heard the first reading of the ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing none, second reading.
An ordinance accepting and authorizing execution of a community assistance program addendum.
All right, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor, roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Lucas,
Yes.
Okay, motion carries and the ordinance is passed. So we'll move on to number 7, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution recording the destruction of certain local government records asked to be read for consideration.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution recording the destruction of certain local government records.
All right, you can read that faster than I can page this. Okay, so you've heard the reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. So we'll move on to number 8.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution accepting permanent sewer easements from various owners for the Route JJ Regional Sewer Project. Ask for it to be read for consideration.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution accepting permanent sewer easements from various owners for the Route JJ Regional Sewer Project.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
It's been motioned. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Moving on to number 9, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri, and I ask it be read once for consideration of passage.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $1,203,370.51.
I hereby certify that there is sufficient money standing to the credit of the city of Moberly, Missouri, unappropriated in the several funds covered by this resolution to meet the requirements of this resolution. Submitted, Gregory L. Hodge, City Treasurer of Moberly. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So move.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
I'll do that again. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Caught us off guard.
Yeah, I did too quick. Okay, so we'll move on to number 10, consideration for approval of renewal liquor licenses.
Mayor and council, we've received renewal applications from Bean of Moberly, Bratcher's Fuel and Bratcher's Market, Case and Keg, Coat Street Corner Grill, Diabolingo Mexican Cuisine, Moax Company LLC, Pizza Works, Twisted Llama Mallard's Pub and Pool, Vertigo Event Services LLC, VFW Post 2654, and Walgreen Company number 10377, and we ask that you approve these applications.
All right, you've heard the discussion. Is there any further questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval of the renewal liquor licenses?
So move.
And a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to number 11, appointment to the Housing Authority Board.
Yes, Mayor, we have one current opening on the Housing Authority Board. We received a letter from Donna Dunwoody that they would recommend appointing Howard Glasgow. He does have his application on file, and that is the only application on file.
All right. Questions about the application? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept?
I move that we appoint Mr. Howard Glasgow to the board.
All right, and is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Appointment is made. Number 12, appointment to the Board of Adjustment.
Yes, Mayor, we have one opening on the Board of Adjustment. Craig Samp is a current member and is requesting to be reappointed, and he is the only application on file.
All right, questions about the applicant? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Anything else to come in front of the council?
Yes, I am here from the,
Can somebody help her turn her microphone on?
Ma'am, please state your name and address, and then you'll have 4 minutes.
I'm Mona Lewis, and I hear from the Moose Lodge 776. And we are asking permission to have a car show and a burnout competition. And we have had some people come to us and wanted to do this. We know that we have to have, they will be only allowed to have a, I'm nervous, sorry.
That's all right.
Our front part is longer than they need. They need only 6 feet. They only get to have a burnout for 30 seconds. We will have a backdrop, so if any of the tires fly off or anything like, or the particles come off, nobody will be hurt. Any of the debris. We will take any suggestions from you all for any other reasons to do anything for safety for the people or anything. It will be during the daytime. It's up at the front part of our division and everything. There will be a car show going on also. It will be on the concrete so that there will be no dust or anything like that. And we would take any of your all's advice or anything else. And we're just asking for permission and advice from you all, and whatever you can give us.
Thank you. Mr. Crane, you want to let us know kind of what the procedure for that is? I don't think we're the first stop, is it?
Yeah, we would just need you to come in and meet with staff and present an application for that, and then we'll get it to the council for approval.
Okay.
When are you planning on trying to have the event?
As soon as you all will approve it for us.
Well, I don't know the time involved, but I know it's not overnight. But
Probably in July to 1st of August is
Yeah.
when we'd like to.
Yeah, so we'll need you to submit that formal application as quick as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
This isn't the same one that the racing thing that you had out there, is it?
No,
This is a little bit different.
totally different.
Okay.
This is,
Sounds like a neat event. Yeah.
This will be up in the front part, nothing to do with the back part.
Gotcha.
So there will be no dust, nothing like that. And it's on concrete, nothing on the grounds in the back at all. It's several feet, yards clear away from that.
Good. Yeah. Sounds fun. Thank you.
thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Anything else coming from the council? All right. Hearing nothing else, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn to work session followed by closed session.
So move.
And a second.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Lucas.
Yes.
Okay, so we are adjourned from the regular session of Moberly City Council, and we will now move to work session and take up the agenda for the work session, which starts with number 1, discussion of pay scale.
Yes, Mayor. In our 2021-22 budget, the council approved a 3% pay raise across the board for our current employees and authorized a salary study for the upcoming budget in 2022-23. The salary increase was put into place in July of that last year, and the Austin Peters Group conducted that salary study in the fall and produced that report in December of 21. So we had plenty of time to know what the results of those studies were coming into our budget season this year. In early 22, the staff met with council members and department heads to talk about the potential increase in personnel costs and how we could fund that. In spring of 22, the budget presentation was made to the council and to department heads after discussion with department heads. And at that time, we made a recommendation in our current budget. And this pay scale increase is reflected in that most current version of the draft budget that the council has been provided. So this increase is based on the finding of that salary study that Austin Peters Group conducted in December of 21. After reviewing the costs associated with it and the needs, we did produce a recommendation that, and most of the findings in that recommendation, there were some positions that were outside of the pay range and some that were inside the pay range. So that recommendation looks at basically about a 3% cost of living for anybody that was found inside that pay raise. And then any pay raise that was recommended over 9% in the salary study was taken a look at and was determined that we could probably afford about half of that. So roughly $100,000 to $125,000 in the general fund was needed for the full implementation, and we proposed a 2-bite approach to those higher than 9% pay increases. So that's what this pay scale does. All the other funds that are outside of the general fund, it recommends a full implementation of the increased costs and pay based on the Austin Peters study. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Anyone have any questions?
I have one.
Mr. Kaiser.
So the people that have the 9% or more, we're going to do half. What is the delta between what's proposed right now or implementing the 100%? Is it 120 to 125,000, or was it half that?
To do,
To do 100% versus what's proposed, what is the delta?
it's roughly 100, 125.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I have a question.
Mr. Rubin.
Just for clarification, it's a two-step process for those that are above 9%, meaning this upcoming fiscal year, they would receive half.
Yes.
Is that correct?
So-
And then the next fiscal year,
Yes. The goal would be then in this next fiscal year after our current one to hopefully be able to increase it up to
to be our
the
desired
range minimum.
increase to get them up there then. Okay, thank you.
So for example, a 10% increase, if the salary study recommended in the general fund a 10% increase for an employee, they would get 5% July 1 of 22, and then hopefully, as long as the budget works out in next year, then they would get that next 5% in July of 23.
Okay,
Is that what you were asking?
yeah, thank you.
I guess my question is on some of the highest, what's the total percent increase? Like you're talking about, if it's more than that, but what is that total on those highest raises going to be amount to in total?
So the salary study, just, round numbers speaking, I think some of the most off in the study was about 28%. So those would be at about a 14% increase July of 22. And then hopefully if we can make the budget work again in 23, it'd be another 14% to get them up to that range minimum of the Austin Peters study.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to. I feel like, to the council, we're entering into some uncertain times in regards to the economy, in regards to, what's happening. The two-step approach, I think, in my opinion, while the firefighters have been made that's been the public, what most of the public has seen, there's many others that need pay increases as well. And, when I ran on this platform, I said everybody needed a fair pay raise and fair pay increase. And being that we're stepping into these uncharted territories and uncharted waters, I personally like the two-step approach. I would not be opposed to reevaluating maybe somewhere around December just to kind of see where the budget is. I like that idea. But that's a council decision and something we can talk about later. But I think the two-step approach is the right approach because of going into these waters. If there was no plan, I don't think I could support it. But because that there is a plan in place to get the people that work for the city, the people that do the everyday, then I can support that. So,
All right. Anyone else? Mr. Kaiser.
Brandon kind of took my thunder there. Because what I was going to say is $125,000 on a $9.4 million budget is 0.001 of 1% of difference. We have not made any changes to try to accommodate that 0.001 of 1%. But I was going to propose is, could we at least, I know we're worried about the economy and inflation and so on. My question to you, the council, is, would we be agreeable to come back in January and at least evaluate where we are on revenues and see if we can't move the timetable up from June or July 1 to January to get us to the 100% of the survey that would have at that point be over a year old?
Well, I can tell you, when you talk about those numbers, that is a big amount because as the budget's proposed right now, we're going to take $682,000 and transfer from other funds just to balance the budget on the two-step approach. So it's, if you do another $100,000, then we're going almost to $800,000 in the red, where we're going to transfer more of that money, all things being considered. If what happens, like Mr. Lucas is referring to, and sales tax revenues go down, then we've got a whole nother calculation. So I don't ever say never, but I'm not going to commit to changing a budget after we do it. So my answer would be no. Now, the rest of the council can vote the way they want.
All I'm asking is to evaluate the situation. That I'm not proposing we.
But that's undoing the budget is what you're talking about. So we're certainly going to monitor where we are, but I think I think doing it in a 2-year period is the best approach. Anyone else? Okay, anyone opposed to moving the pay scale forward? All right, if there's no opposition, we'll move that pay scale forward. Move on to number 2, appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yes, Mayor, we have currently 4 applications on file for 3 spots. David Byland is a new application, and Richard Dooley, Don Burton, and Gary Duncan would all be current members that said they would serve again.
So we've got to go with 3 out of 4, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know I've served on planning and zoning, and I know Mr. Burton and Mr. Dooley, Mr. Duncan are always there and always there to participate. So I think their attendance has been very good. I like Mr. Byland. He's a qualified candidate, but I think the others have certainly been doing their job as a volunteer. So I'm not inclined to change that. But what's the opinion of the rest of you?
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
Hopefully, Mr. Byland, maybe we can find another board or commission that we can use his expertise. But everyone opposed to that? All right, we'll move that forward to the next meeting. Move to number 3, receipt of bids for the Fennel Complex fence.
Giving you a list of the fence. This was for the preliminary concept, so they're all apples to apples. We were going to originally take the fence around the concrete area and also about a third of the grass area, so they were all bidding the same thing. As you can see, there's a pretty wide variety on fencing there. Staff reviewed this, and so our recommendation was for a Kinder machine. So just to be clear on that, his did not include finish or install. However, some of the things that were driving us towards that direction were the fact that it's a custom built fence, so it'd be fab. It won't be like 8-foot panels that you just kind of cut it down to make it fit. It had the finials on it. It's a heavier 5/8-inch steel, solid steel fence, so it's going to be there for a long term. And also he would put some other options in there as far as including some different posts for us, the railroad post at the gates, and build the custom hinges where the fold back gates fold flat back against the structure, so it's more usable for the area for food trucks. So there's just a lot of little options in there that we felt put that one over the top, and we were also able to negotiate with Matt Pro to get the powder coating done on there, so it brought us still in the same price range as the next lowest bid.
All right, questions about the bids? All right, so is anyone opposed to moving that bid forward to the next regular meeting? Hearing none, we'll move that forward. Move on to number 4, authorization for the police department to purchase needed materials.
So in November, this was part of the grant packets that we applied for that was approved. This was the one that was for a total of $19,400 worth of training come from the State Homeland Security Program for prevention activities. So what this grant was applied for was response to active shooter training. And at the time, we didn't have what we'd had in the last couple of months, so it's very appropriate that we're now moving this forward. What the bid allowed, or what the grant did, the grant contained all of the bid processes for the products needed for that training to take place. That training encompasses $10,800 worth of trauma med kits for 40 officers to take those kits back to their responding agencies or respective agencies and be able to use those in the event of an active response system. That stuff was all part of the grant process, And so now it's come to a time where we're looking to set dates for that, which will be sometime in August. So it's now time to start processing those things through and start ordering all the components that are supposed to go in those trauma kits. So this is basically a request to you authorizing us to spend the money to purchase that stuff, because it's a 100% reimbursement grant, but it's going to be the next budget before that reimbursement comes back in. So total $19,600, $400. So that's what it is.
Questions, anyone?
I had a question.
Mr. Mayor.
I don't recall. Will the training be held here in Moberly?
Yes,
Or,
2 days of training.
And that's Todd Burke, is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe that's the guy that's doing the training, but I don't know if he's from Strategos or no, he's from his own, but
Yeah,
that's the guy doing
he's
the
actually lives down by Columbia. I think he's been doing this many years.
Yeah, he's been doing training like this for some time. So basically, it's just a request to authorize that we be able to purchase the stuff and get that stuff ordered with the supply chains and all that. We're trying to get it moving.
Anyone opposed to moving that forward?
Sounds great.
All right, thank you, Chief. Moving on to number 5, discussion regarding Moberly State of Missouri Multipurpose Fund membership.
What you have before you, gentlemen, is an authorization to become members of the Multipurpose Fund. It's a fund recently set up by the Missouri Legislature for water supply projects. This will allow Moberly to pursue funding and other assistance in water supply projects far and above what we're able to through normal means and methods.
All right. So is there any other obligations that come into joining this that's going to cause us expense now or down the road?
According to Mr. Weller, the principal of the fund, there are no obligations on Moberly's part other than making requests and supplying data and other reports necessary for it. And any reports that we would submit for it would be paid for by the fund.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, thank you, sir. That'll move forward. Moving on to number 6, discussion regarding an ordinance establishing new water and sewer rates. Who's on?
For the upcoming fiscal year budget, in order to help with what we just talked about with making the budget balance, it was necessary to consider a rate increase of 3% in order to have the sufficient funds to keep the utility fund in balance.
Okay, and if I'm looking at my screen right, it's showing a 3% recommended increase.
That's correct.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? I think our previous increase was what, 5?
Five for 5 years.
Okay.
When was the last increase?
Last. Been last.
Oh, last year. Okay, sorry.
And the year before. We had four of them.
I'm the new guy.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between contiguous and non-contiguous on your chart up here?
Contiguous and non-contiguous. If you are a property owner and you own property
Yep.
that butts up against City of Moberly property, you
Got
are
it.
considered contiguous.
Got it. I understand.
Because it's a different rate for those two different.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Those two have different established
I remember
rates.
when we established that, it hadn't been that long ago. Anybody else? Anyone opposed to moving that forward? Hearing none? All right, that'll move forward. Thank you, sir. Let's see, did you want to say anything about the tap fees? Sorry about that. Tap fees for both water and
The
sewer.
tap fees
We only
go
got half
hand
of
in
the-
hand
half
with
of
the
the
other
permits.
permit fees from planning and development.
So where are we? I see how it shows Kirksville today and all that. Where are we on neighboring utility connection fees?
We're in the lower half right now. This will bring us closer to the mid half to the midpoint of the utilities that were questioned.
Questions, anyone? Anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right. So that'll move forward to the next meeting. So then we'll move on to number 7, discussion regarding the purchase of an upgrade of a sewer camera system.
We have an existing sewer camera that has been undergoing repairs more often than it's been in our use. And in order to have a camera that's more reliable and therefore more usable for us, we have an opportunity right now to upgrade our camera at a tremendous discount, and would like to pursue that opportunity.
All right. Questions, anyone?
I have a question.
Mr. Kaiser?
Do those come with any type of warranty or any type of service agreement that if you're using it and you get it covered in, I don't know, motor oil for hypothetically, would cover the repair of that camera, or how does that work?
They do come with a warranty. I can't stand here and quote you what the warranty is on
Sure.
this one because the opportunity is so aggressive.
Right.
But what I do know is when we don't have a camera and we need it, it's a problem. We can get a loaner camera, but there's always a delay.
Right.
But a lot of times it's when there's a sewer backup or other, and we would really like to have it available at that moment. So there's a time critical part.
My question is, does it include like any type of protection program? You know, like a laptop, you can buy a protection program that if I drop it and destroy it, they'll repair it. My
How about I
question
do
is,
some research and find out for the next meeting?
I'd be curious because it's a $28,000 and it's vital, like you said, to the job. I'm just curious if it included anything like that.
I think the vendor is tired of servicing our camera and wanting to get something else new in our hands.
Well, I guess that brings me, my question is, you've had the experience with the one you have. Is this going to be a different model, different manufacturing? Are we going?
This is slightly different and a newer model. So it is not exactly the same. This is a better one.
Well, new is always better, but I guess if you're having bad problems with one manufacturer, is it smart to go back to the same one?
But it matches our existing software and computer system.
Okay, so they got you.
Otherwise, we would have to spend tremendously more money in order to change to a different one.
Anyone else? Anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, that'll move forward to the next meeting. And I think that takes care of your department. Unless I'm missing something. Yeah. Number 8.
Wait, he's got 11. He's got 11
I
too.
should have another one on there.
Well, we're not at 11 yet. We're at number 8.
And make him sit down.
We'll get you at 11. Very good. I'm a stickler for order. Sorry about that. Number 8, a resolution appropriating grant funding to area civic and charitable organizations.
Yes, Mayor. These are the organizations that the city has historically funded through its annual service agreements to provide services to our citizens. One that you'll see that's not on there this year, but it was handled a little bit differently, was the Moberly Chamber of Commerce. That is now been evolved into a different agreement. So the old agreement that they would have done in this is gone, and that new agreement stands. But we have Moberly Community Betterment, NOMO Foundation, the Senior Multipurpose Center, and Council on the Arts.
Questions, anyone? Anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, that'll move forward to the next meeting. So we'll move on to number 9, the RFP for wayfinding signage.
So we initially had submit out an RFP for wayfinding signs primarily from the city group for downtowns, but decided to try to send that out and look at the community as a whole. So it was all inclusive. And this again is a study where they would look at locations, sign recommendations, styling, where they would, what all would we want to identify. And those are very critical as far as placement. So this isn't the actual construction of the signs or installation of the signs. This is just a study to say what we would have, where they should be, and what would be on them. This first study came in, or results came in. We only received one proposal from Arcturus for $74,680. They were a qualified company, and as we only received one bid, we did follow up with them and tried to cut that down and see how we could trim that back. Met with them a few times, and they came back at $49,000, and we also asked them to break it down by the segments of the community. So as you can see up there, it should show you, yes, 20% of that was estimated to be what Parks and Rec's part of that would be. 40% would be the depot district. Obviously, that's going to be the main impact of identifying those type of areas. And the other 40% was the rest of the community as a whole. So they broke it down like that. You can see the prices, and I also had some suggestions of how we could fund that. Parks could fund their portion, depot district could fund that, and then also the rest of the community's signage would be identified and paid for out of our same kind of account that we fund our signs out of, which would be the street improvement fund.
All right.
If your agreement.
questions about any of that?
I do have one
Lucas?
question. So I've learned more about wayfinding studies in the last 48 hours than I ever thought I would know. And I did a little research on the company, and I was pretty impressed with what they've done in Jeff City and the district in Columbia and whatnot. They've some of their work on their website's very, very extensive. And if you own a business, you know that imaging and marketing and creating that picture can make the difference. One of the things, though, that I noticed that some of their competitors would do is some of their competitors would offer a credit. Like if we paid the $49,000 for the study, and let's say we went with what they offered, and we wanted to buy a sign from them or something that they designed and whatnot, they would give a kickback if you bought it from them. Does this company offer anything like that? And would it be a question to just ask? I love the idea. It's just a question to maybe ask.
I don't know that, well, go ahead.
I don't know specifically, but I could say this company isn't in the sign manufacturing business, so
Okay.
the likelihood of them participating in that type of program
Makes
is
sense
probably
then.
pretty low. But
Makes sense.
other companies might offer that as a service to get you to buy the signs too.
That makes sense.
So
I'd
will
rather
they
buy them locally
design and
anyways.
create them? Is that what we're talking about?
Design, create, and figure out placement and branding.
And then we got to pay to have the signage made.
We
Then
would
you-
buy them from a
yeah.
third party.
Yeah.
And then have them installed buy them and install from a third party.
So
We did
like,
have
for
some-
example, if Parks and Rec was going to have a new sign that showed how to get to the Rotary Pavilion downtown, that would be an example.
Yeah.
Correct?
It'd be on one of the signs.
Just trying to
marquees.
understand this.
And we other companies did contact us, through the RFP process, and had suggested, they said, well, we'd like to offer a package deal for the whole works. And we said, that's not really what we're asked for. And we don't know if we can fund that right now, but we go ahead and submit. So we were hoping we'd get that as having a comparison, but didn't get it.
Right. Well, I'd rather buy the signs locally anyways, but I
Yeah.
thought if we were going to do this, it might be a question to ask, but it makes sense why it's not there. So thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, hearing none, that'll move forward to the next meeting. This brings us to number 10, an application submitted by Civil Engineering Design Consultants on behalf of Tidal Wave Express Car Wash.
You can see it went for a site plan and also a conditional use. The conditional use is what is coming before the council, as that's what required of a car wash. And you can see that it's the last property in the city limits on the south side of the road there on 24. The city limits does extend beyond that on the north side. Planning and zoning recommended in favor of it. It is an automated drive-through system with some labor.
I know Mr. Kaiser and I were at the budget meeting that night, didn't get to attend planning and zoning. So anyone have any questions about that recommendation?
I had a question.
Mr. Rubrick.
Just out of curiosity, the company that's doing this, do they own
Yes,
other car
It's a chain.
washes? So this isn't their first.
no. They had a very nice proposal, and they even had a third-party landscaping proposal. I mean, it's professionally done.
Okay, thanks.
So we get sales tax off car wash.
I would assume so.
It's a
That's
service.
a Greg Hodge question.
If we don't count the quarters, but
Not on the service, I don't think.
I believe so. There is a 1% on the water sales
Okay.
and any of the little supplies and things that they might sell through the vending machines, but it wouldn't be that much money.
all right. I was just curious because it is in a prime retail area, and we've obviously got a place across the street that was prime retail, or is prime retail, I should say. Okay, anyone opposed to moving that forward?
Nope.
That'll move forward to the next meeting. I'll move on to number 11.
Welcome back.
Moberly State of Missouri ARPA grant application submittal to DNR.
This is our opportunity that DNR has presented to us through the recently approved ARPA grant funding, specifically for water, wastewater, and stormwater. But Moberly has an opportunity to submit up to one drinking water application up to $5 million, one wastewater application up to $5 million, and multiple stormwater applications up to $5 million each. So this is a request to authorize the application for that funding. And I wish I could tell you right now how many and what they were and everything, but we're not quite that far yet.
Questions, anyone?
I had a question. What's the time limit or expiration on this? How soon do you
We
need
have
to
until the
submit
middle of
these?
July to submit all applications.
Middle of this July? So somebody's got to get really
5
busy
weeks
on
from
this.
now. Yeah, there's a little bit of work to get done.
Sounds like a great opportunity.
Well, fortunately, through past work, we already have a list of projects, and many of those meet the requirements. Now it's just a matter of prioritizing those to figure out how to get the most bang for the buck on the application. And once the application's submitted, there's still no guarantee that we'll be able to compete competitively on points, but we're going to do our best.
Thank you.
Okay, question, anyone else? Anyone opposed to moving that forward to the next meeting? Hearing no opposition, that will move forward to the next regular scheduled meeting. Is there anything else to come in front of council for tonight's work session? Hearing none, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn to the closed session. Is there a
So
motion to
moved.
that effect? Motion, is there a second?
Second?
Been motion and second. Roll call.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Brubaker?
Yes.
Kimmons?
Yes.
Kaiser?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.